Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. Monday, late night. Memorial Day weekend, late night Monday. It's still Monday. Still BVP time. Still time for myself, Brent Young, and the two beautiful gentlemen who have been sun gazing all weekend and finishing it up in a flurry on Monday night. And yeah, that's right. Better late than never. BVP here on BearcatJournal.com. Danco Transmissions, thank you. But I gotta ask, Aaron, Chad, gentlemen, how are we?
Doing well. Got some yard work done. Got some sun in. Got to grill the last 2 nights.
Okay.
Happy the weather's been pretty good.
It has been. What, a little rain at some point. Well, I mean, I don't know. Athens is like 2 full weather things away from me, so I can't really judge what Indy's weather was like and say that's pretty much yours, right? But nah, it was good weather past couple days at least.
Yep.
Chad, how are we?
Good. Just getting done with a little sports talk on WLW action. My first time ever hosting the flagship sports talk show in the city. So that was fun. A little 3 hours of some Bengals, some Reds, some Bearcats. So
how did it all go?
It went well.
There you go.
Spent Saturday and Sunday in Louisville watching some EYBL. Came home last night, just in time to fire up the grill. Have some steaks, and then a little fire pit action last night, and work today. So it's been a work filled, but you got to have work-life balance, Brent.
No,
so I managed to squeeze in a little bit of play, outside of all the work.
Well, good. Little steaks on the grill, can't go wrong with that. I myself, man, I had a doozy of a weekend. This weekend's always some of the most fun over in Indianapolis. I went to the Reds game on Thursday randomly. Did rain a little bit.
20 run outing.
Yeah, a little 20 run outing. I hope you took the over, took the Reds money line, and just rolled with it. But no, and then rolled right into Friday and Saturday race parties, and then Sunday the Indy 500, and then just it is one big mess of a week. But hey. It's always time for Bearcat talk. Oh, I was there. They're in full force. We do a party bus down there, and then go in and just hope 25 of us disperse and all cross our fingers and hope we can make it back to the party bus after the race, which we all did. Some later than others, but not going to raise my hand on that one. But yeah, I mean it was fun. They're always a blast heading to that. So, but happy to be back here. Bearcat talk never ends. And neither does, car issues. That never ends either. Danco Transmission, shout out to them. Chad, it was 2 weeks removed from your guys' selfie, but always good to see a little Danco.
Car's working great. Working great. No complaints.
Okay. And I guess you can go in if you need just another oil change in the near future. Aaron, if you need an oil change, you're in the Cincinnati area. Head over to Danco Joe's. Danco Transmission, that is. Get that $10 off your next oil change. If you mention Aaron Smith or Chad Brendel or a Bearcat Journal or BVP, just any of it. Roll with it. But let's dive right in. I think the first topic we got to mention, though, obviously the main story outside of the Indy 500, but main story overall in the sports world, if you will, would probably be the NBA Finals. That means basketball is still somewhat there, which is crazy to mention the fact that this next season of Bearcat basketball is getting ready to fire up here shortly. Most of the team is in town for next season, I believe. Is it still Daniel Skillings that is not, from last I heard?
Yeah, he's still finishing up high school, so that is an NCAA requirement. He has to get the cap and gown before he can report to Cincinnati.
You
so
can't
that
snag him out a couple days early, and
nope, that's not how it works. So he'll be here in like 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
It might be two weeks from today or 2 weeks from yesterday. after he gets done with all his school stuff. But everybody else is in town, cleared, and good to go.
It's been a while since you've been able to say that.
Yeah, I mean it's
past couple of seasons.
There's always been some drama on things, but it doesn't look like, knock on wood, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case going into this season. So important to get all those guys on campus as quick as possible, start to get them in the gym. You can start summer workouts in June. I don't know the exact day that everything starts, but it'll either be this week or next week that they'll finally be on the court for their 8 weeks of summer training, 4 hours in the gym with the coaching staff a week, 4 hours in the Monster Factory with Mike Rayfelt. If you haven't seen those 2 videos from Mike on Twitter, go check those out. Giving you a little tour of the Monster Factory and how they operate, how things work there. So yeah, put that on your list of things to do after this show, right, or tomorrow or whatever the case.
Probably tomorrow morning after the show will be tomorrow. So technically,
we're not going that. We're not doing 2 hours tonight, starting at 10 o'clock. I can promise.
No. This will be
hour and 57.
Short and sweet. Yeah, very nicely put together. It's we'll call it a nightcap on steroids. We'll all cheers our whiskey cups late night and say, all right, that was a good one, guys, and then having Aaron see ya. But it is 10 o'clock. I know, man.
Yeah, Ed, because I'm a big deal and I had stuff to do. That's how this works.
Yeah.
Dad's busy.
How it works.
When Dad's busy, then we have to make adjustments. And we love the content game so much. We could have easily taken the night off. We could have easily just said, you know what? It's a holiday. We'll see you guys next week for the BBP. But that's not how we do things. I left it up to the boys. I said, it's my fault that it's going to be late. If you guys want to do a show, we'll do a show as soon as I get home at 10 o'clock. And they said, we want to do a show. So here we are.
Can't stop, won't stop.
No. I mean, even if I came on air and just said, how are we for an hour and a half straight, I still want that published just so that we had another BBP for the week.
I'd kill myself.
Yeah. Be one of those YouTube. You know what? It might be one of the ones that randomly has a very high view count. It's
how are we?
Hour and a half straight of how are we?
How are we?
People are just playing it to put their babies to sleep or something along those lines.
Just putting the emphasis on all the different syllables.
Yeah. How are we? Yeah, but anyway.
How are we?
Speaking of this weekend, guys, and we're going to talk about kind of the roster construction, very broad outlook for next basketball season after we mention on the potential future of the Bearcat basketball team. And Chad, that brings up you being in Louisville this past weekend. From all accounts, seems like it was a good setup down there. Sounds a couple.
Awesome.
Yeah, sounds a couple of big names, obviously with the USA team tryouts going on at the same time this weekend, but still some heavy names and one that's got a direct tie to the biggest name out in the 2023 class target-wise for the Bearcats as well, and Arrington Page. And you also dropped a big nugget about his let's say visit that he has scheduled with the squad. So first off, just a couple of accounts. As far as Page goes, I understand his play this weekend was, up and down.
Solid.
Yeah, solid.
He struggled pretty bad on Saturday morning. But like I said on the nightcap on Saturday, from what I heard, he got in really late Friday. Right. Didn't get much sleep, and you could tell he was gassed. And so he struggled a little bit on Saturday morning, and they cut his minutes,
right,
to try to get him fresh for the rest of the weekend. He played well the rest of the weekend. Obviously, he is better when Isaiah Collier is on the court. Yep. That is the impact of the number one point guard in the class and a top 10 player in the country. That's the nature of the beast. What you hope for if you're Cincinnati, though, is that growing realization that, man, my life in college is going to be a hell of a lot easier if I have Isaiah Collier on my team,
right,
and we can both go to Cincinnati and make something happen. Now USC is also involved with Page, the same as they are with Collier. I think
copycats.
From what I heard, I think USC is a little deeper with Collier than maybe some think. Okay. And Page has already officially visited there. He visited USC and Mizzou, and then UC, and then Indiana is coming up in a couple weeks. Right. But Indiana, I think, is one to watch. They were his first major offer. Mm-hmm. They've been on him for a long time. He's built a good relationship there. Right. So I think that's definitely like, if the Bearcats are going to win this one, they're gonna have to hold off some muscle. But that's recruiting top 50 players. Like, you're not just going to go in on a top 50 guy and it's going to Cincinnati and Dayton, and right. That's just not how it works. No. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. But that a big piece of that is today with the arrival of Arlington Page for his visit after the AAU tournament. So hopefully it goes well. Like, he told me Saturday morning he was looking forward to getting to know more about the school. Mm-hmm. He has a great relationship with Wes and with Andre Morgan, who were the two guys that leading the charge in his recruitment. Yep. So we'll see. He's a tough one to get a read on, man. He's right. He's not a man of many words.
Okay. Yeah.
He is. He's on the quiet side. Okay. So he was still a pretty good interview, but you gotta poke and prod a little bit to get
a couple
out
good answers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some kids you stick the microphone out and they just go for like 90 seconds on one question. Some kids, you ask them a question and they give you the 4 words necessary to answer that question, and that's it.
and then you're like, okay, well, try and reword the question, then just hope to add the 4 words with another 4 or 5
words. Right. That was the entire interview with Arlington Page. So we'll get a feel for that as things move on. Like I said, I've been kind of running around so much. I don't have an exact timeline on how long he's here, when he's leaving, that whole deal. But I should be able to get that probably tomorrow and kind of let everybody know what the deal is there.
Cool. So a couple things as far as Page goes. I liked what Aaron said in one of the nightcaps, just kind of referencing, when if say Collier does commit to the Bearcats and then Rayvon's in the fold as well, this past weekend would be Page out there trying to do it if both of them were sidelined with some sort of an injury or something, or foul trouble, and now all the attention goes on Page. So I mean, it's a luxury to be going after these big names, but like you said, once you take away that the yin to the yang, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get it really going. But also the package deal scenario is something I like as well, because like you said, IU is a name that's been out there a lot with Page, and I've got a buddy I work with that's a huge, he's on Pigs all the time, kind of like some of the BCJ members, and he's all about Page as well. And so if that's kind of if Page wakes up every morning and loves when he knows they're just going to go play a game with Isaiah Collier on his team, then who knows? Because I don't think IU's really been on Collier at all. I think they've got kind of a couple 5-star point guards that are in the fold.
Yeah, they're not really in the Collier situation at all.
No, at all. Yeah. So, I mean, who knows if that'll play a factor towards the end of it? But I mean, Page is obviously a big name. And one thing about the visit, do you think was this one? You think the staff kind of targeted as, okay, we're going to get most of the team back on in the city on this date. Let's try and schedule this visit according to that, or
to my knowledge, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it's more like they're already in Louisville.
Yeah.
For EYBL, so let's just get them up here. Like, let's play your final game on Monday morning, and then hop in the ride and
come on up.
Get the hour and 40-minute drive up to Cincinnati, and let's get this thing started. I know his mom was down there in Louisville, so she'll be able to just head straight up with him. I think it was more of that, just a timing thing, and I think there is definitely this like still a learning curve a bit on these junior officials.
Right.
Because they approved it, and then we went into COVID. We went into lockdown.
Right.
So kids weren't allowed on campuses. Like, I
Mhm.
think schools are still kind of figuring out, like, how all of this works.
Right.
And I think there's definitely this desire, if you're one of the programs that's, like, at or near the top for a kid, you want to get them in before the reset on August 1st. It might be September 1st. August 1st, September 1st. Okay. You want to get a junior visit in before that reset. So then if you need, you can still get an official visit from them as a senior. So that's never really been in play up until now. So I think there is a, like, let's get him here as quick as possible. And then if we need, you'll still maybe have one for a football game, or if he does commit and sign, you could bring him in for an official visit, like during a big basketball game or something of that nature. So it's just it's things evolving, the rules evolving, and the game evolving around how the rules change. So now I'm sure it doesn't hurt to bring a kid in while everybody's here, so you can get a host, like a real host for the weekend, and kind of get the full experience. But I don't think that was a determining factor in getting it set up. I think it's just a bonus of it's set up, and now you can kind of, show all the aspects of the program.
Right. And I like you said, nothing but a bonus there to be like, okay, well, this is Josh Reed. I'm going to be playing with Josh Reed if I do commit here, and here's Landers Nolly, and players of that sort. So obviously not a main key, but definitely something that was a positive. What a couple other names? Obviously, I know Aaron, you and I, you and Chad were going back and forth on names that you kind of saw over the past weekend. Anything else as far as catching your guys' eye or your ear, Aaron, from other players that Chad, you were able to take in down in Louisville? Was it mainly Paige?
No, that was just a winding question.
Well, I'm just trying to get Aaron involved too.
Six different directions, and now Aaron, answer it.
It was either Chad or Aaron.
Aaron, you and Chad haven't talked, but is there anything Chad saw that you have thoughts on?
Well, no. You guys mentioned some names back and forth.
I'm just imagining. It was just the way you asked the question.
I know. I want to get my boy Aaron in this.
I don't mind that I'm not involved in a conversation about Chad's weekend. Like, let him answer the questions.
He took the shortcut off road to get to the house, like instead of just taking the driveway.
We all made it though. We're all at the house together.
He pulled into the backyard.
I appreciate it, Brent, but yeah, let him answer the questions about his weekend.
All right, names that you mentioned on the nightcap with Aaron, Chad. Tell us more about him.
Jizzle James is really, really good.
See, Aaron, I set the tee up for you there.
It's fine.
Jizzle James was a lot of fun to watch. He does need to expand his range. He's really, really solid from 15 feet and in, and he's one of those guys that it's really tough to keep out of the lane. And he keeps you honest with his pull-up, 15, 12-foot pull-ups, and then a lot of floaters. He plays point guard like a running back, man. Like, he knows how to get to open space. He can absorb some contact. He really competes, which is another thing that I'm a big fan of. He is. I don't think his shot is terrible. It needs work.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that I don't ever get mad at a guy that doesn't shoot an AAU because he can just get to the rim whenever he wants. Like, I don't want that guy standing outside jacking three-pointers, right?
Trying to show I can get hot or something. Yeah.
Right. He took a couple. You're not going to see a instructional video on his three-point shot, but I don't think it's broken to the point that, like, it doesn't look like DeJuan Odom. when he tries to take a three. It doesn't look like that.
All right. Fair. Right.
So he was a lot of fun to watch. There's another point guard that we saw Rave on Instagram about last week. Jalen Curry, who plays for Boo Williams, and that's a wild experience, Jalen Curry. So I think in the game last night, their second game yesterday, he took 23 shots in an AAU game.
What?
I think there was another one, or like Saturday, that he had 16 or 17. He is not efficient,
right?
But he's electric. Like he can get his shot whenever he wants, and he ain't afraid to take it. As I said jokingly to somebody when I was talking about him the other day or yesterday, he shoots like his shot selection is very Steph Curry.
Okay.
But his
shot making
his efficiency is not.
Dwan Odom. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Boy, Dwan Odom's taking a ricochets.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say you really triggered some Georgia State fans with that.
So he was a lot of fun to watch. I'd have to get in my notes. I bounced around and watched a bunch of, just got my eyes on a bunch of different guys. Saw Tyler McKinley a couple times.
Yeah.
He wasn't as dominant as he was in Indy, but he was still really good. He just has such a great feel for the game.
Right.
He makes plays for others. He makes the game easy for his teammates, which is not something you see with a kid that's 6'8" with his body type, right? Like getting the ball off the rim and just pushing the fast break and throwing outlet passes and getting to 15 feet and making decisions with the ball, or catching the ball in the middle of a 2-3 zone and being kind of that point forward. Like, I think he has a really interesting upside as a college player.
Yeah.
Because he can do a lot of point forward stuff where he facilitates from the mid range, from the high post, from the wings. Evening, Jason. Evening, Crypt Keeper. Welcome in, boys. So yeah, I got to see him. I got to see AJ McBride a little bit, although I don't know what all Ohio is doing. Like, one game he had played 6 minutes. What are we doing? They got beat. Like, why? He's your most athletic wing. He's your best wing, and you're playing him.
Sense.
I wasn't real happy about that. I got to see Mug, his dad. So always love to see Mug when he gets a chance to be back in town for games when work allows. It was a good time. I mean, EYBL stuff's always fun.
Yeah.
And usually they have these things in these cramped settings where there's a lot of people that go to EYBL games, no matter where they're at. Especially like in Louisville, you've got DeJuan Wagner's kid, MJ Wagner.
Yeah.
DJ Wagner.
Yeah.
And another kid that he plays with that, like Kentucky and Louisville are going to head for those two kids.
Right.
So, it's a big spectator event.
Yeah.
And, the Indiana fans are close right across the river.
Yep.
So you get a lot of those there. But because it's in the Kentucky Fair and Expo Center,
they can do it.
There's space. There's, 20 feet between courts, 30 feet between
Really?
courts. And like there's actually room to move around and not be like this for the entire event. So it was a really good time. I had a lot of fun.
Not like the in Westwood, Indiana, when Bronny James, pardon me, is in there.
Yeah.
Security on full alert. Man, that was quite the cramped spot. But
yeah, Carmelo was there over the weekend. I heard what Russell Westbrook was there.
Okay.
LeBron would have been there, but I guess he owns part of Liverpool, and Liverpool was playing in the Champions League on Saturday. So I guess LeBron was in England and couldn't come to his kid's game.
Bummer.
Go to your kid's game.
Bummer.
Come on. I'm glad he wasn't, actually, because that place would have been a disaster if Brown was in the gym.
Oh yeah.
And it still takes me back to my favorite AAU moment ever. So I don't even remember where we were, and I'm sitting like one butt cheek on the bleachers, like with one leg on the bleachers and one leg on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the game, and there's this commotion I'm kind of hearing behind me, but it's AAU, so there's commotions all the time.
Right. Big dunks.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention, and then this shadow just engulfs me. And I look over, and it's Shaq, because Sharif was getting ready to play the next game. So Shaq was there with his wife getting ready to come watch the game, and his security had to go like clear out the 16-year-olds in the front row. Like, look, get up. Shaq and his wife are coming to sit down, and they're coming to sit down right here. So get your ass out.
Should have been on time.
Right. Yeah, no, he was on time. It was just the game was ending that was played before. So he was coming in when he was supposed to come in. But yeah, I looked over, and literally it was just this like a total eclipse of all light in the building, because that is the largest human I've ever seen.
Huge. And
he's 7'1", like 450 pounds now.
We will need your 1 foot on the bleacher, 1 foot on the floor seat for sure, Shaquille O'Neal. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't have to move. They made the kids that were sitting center court on the bleachers. Those kids had to get up. I was off to the side on the third row, because it's not like my legs are long enough to. I was probably in the second row. It's like my legs are long enough to like one cheek, 1 foot, the third row. That's not happening.
Superman is here. Get out. But so a couple things. McKinley, you mentioned his point, his point forward capabilities, and you watch the Eastern Conference Finals, and you see Al Horford bringing the ball up the court and different things of that sort, and it's just always interesting to see kind of the evolution of the big man, and he definitely does seem to have some of those qualities within his game, just based off the highlights I've seen.
That's kind of how he plays. I mean, he's not their point guard.
Yeah,
but he'll get involved and play like a facilitator role.
Right. Is he really playing in the Smith League? Is that what I saw him?
I saw that. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. It came out after I was already back home.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but I don't know if that's even allowed with the pro guys playing.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know if it's if he doesn't accept any money or payment or any.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're allowed to play in those sanctioned leagues,
right?
Like as a high schooler, because I remember that being a thing where you weren't allowed before. Like maybe they changed the rule. I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
Who knows? But good to see him still doing well. As far as Jizzle James goes, let's hit at 6'1" on 247. Is that pretty accurate?
Probably about right, yeah.
See? Okay.
That's probably about right.
Plays a little bigger though with his athleticism, I would imagine. Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's not like crazy bouncy,
right?
But he's just got kind of that toughness to him that that you like. Oh, we didn't talk about the kind of new name either.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Cohen Carr. He's a North Carolina kid. He's at a prep school in South Carolina, or he's a Georgia kid. Sorry, he's at prep school in South Carolina. 6 foot. They list him at 6'7". I'd say 6'5", maybe 6'6". He is bouncy, like bouncy. So got a chance to watch him. He's tough. He's physical. He guards. He's got some, as has always been the terminology around the program. He's got some Bearcat in him,
right?
Like he's looking to rip your head off, and I think that would. I know that they're not crazy about having to take a second wing in this class with Rayvon, but I think those two are different enough. They could complement each other, and Cohen kind of the defense, lockdown, toughness. Right. What John Newman is doing right now for them.
Yep.
Do I think it's likely they take two wings in this class? No, but I think if you can mess with Cohen Carr and find yourself in the lead, you have a tough decision to make, because this is what I said all weekend. there are two guys that coach this program that won hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games with Cohen cars.
Right.
Yep. That was in response. Somebody texted me, why is it that whenever the term "he's a Bearcat" is used, it's on a kid that can't shoot? I'm like, well,
he will defend, be hard nosed, jump out of the gym.
We've been conditioned to that we've been conditioned to that for 30 years.
The shooting will come, is what we're told.
The shooting will always. It's coming.
It's developing. Don't worry.
Yeah. But he's a kid I really enjoyed watching play. So it'll be interesting to see. From what I know, Wes actually talked to him late last week, before the event this weekend.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it. I just think that's definitely, knowing that there's been some contact, that's definitely a name I would keep an eye on. I know everybody thinks Indiana is kind of in a strong position here.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, Indiana is looking at that spot for a shooter, like specifically a 6'5", 6'6" shooter. So it sounds like Indiana kind of is maybe cooled on him a little bit, which would maybe open the door for Cincinnati to kind of
visited there March 1st at Indiana. Looks just based off 247. Obviously, he might have received some more offers since, but looks like IU, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt are the only kind of bigger names that have offered so far. I don't know. Obviously, he's top 60, so that'll.
He's really good. He's really good. Like he's very, very, very good. So
this is a fantastic question.
Yeah, I know. Because you watched that first one, and you're listening, following along. Yeah, go ahead.
For those listening, only on the podcast
version.
Why do the Monster Factory videos predominantly feature Chris Vogt? That came in the chat.
There must have been, like, when the pandemic was going on, there must have just been a lot of B-roll shot because they weren't allowed to do much of anything else at that time. So Chris Vogt was in a weight room all the time. So there's just a lot of Chris Vogt B-roll.
Yeah, it is funny because you watch the first one that Mike put out.
I noticed it too.
And it's him just instructing and talking and everything. And then it kind of seemed like there didn't need to be a quick shot of a player, but all of a sudden here it comes and it's Chris Vogt. And it's like, oh, whoa. Which I guess if he's sending that out to recruits and whatnot, then they probably wouldn't even think twice about who is this tall human being.
Right. It's just something that we notice, right?
He'll go to battle for you.
Yeah. He will.
Just ask him.
Ask all his Wisconsin buddies.
Way back.
All of his Wisconsin fans will know all about it. No, it was funny. I went to the Big Ten tournament this past year, and I saw Chris just walking downtown a little bit. I was like, hey, gotta get a pic, just like, send it to my group chat. And my buddy who took the pic was like, he's a big Bearcat fan, and Chris kind of just looked at me and laughed and then walked away. I was like, I don't know if he should have said that. I think the picture was fine and we could have moved on. But
kudos to your friend. That needed to be said. Kudos to your friend.
Because it went from I never formally talked to Vogt when he was here, but he definitely probably didn't know who I was at all. So it was hilarious. But yeah, what's up, Chelsea?
Hi, Chelsea. Love you. You psycho.
Psycho. So do we think
only because she wants to she's what Skins is to you, Aaron. She tries to murder me every time we're around each other.
Shit.
That's a you problem, bro.
She's the only person outside of Kelly on this planet that just doesn't put up with my shit. She calls me on it.
That's good.
Everybody's got to be somebody.
Everybody's got their role. Chelsea's role is look, you ain't shit. You right. You right.
So do we envision a potential offer for Carr on the horizon, or is it?
We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We're tracking right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, man, I like those guys on the wing that are just
right. Kind of like a Leon Bond when they were after him heavy. He was a little bit more of a combo forward, but he kind of had that.
I think Carr's strong enough. I think to do a Jaquan Parker type deal.
Oh man, yeah.
Where he's strong and he is bouncy.
Good. Yeah.
Bouncy.
I mean,
Like
if
he
you watch
had a couple. Did you watch the video today that came out?
I might. Was it? Who was it that posted it?
I don't remember. I just saw it in passing where it
Okay.
showed. It was the game that I watched Saturday evening where he had 2 ridiculous blocks and then off the backboard dunk and then like 3 other dunks in the game. Like he's bouncy.
Which you can never get too many of those on your team, as we could clearly tell from this past year's NCAA tournament. Yeah, I just watched that video. Wow. Yeah, he's a monster. Says Kentucky show. Oh, during the Louisville Kentucky showing, I thought it was going to say Kentucky showing interest, which would then have been funny. But aside from that,
that's the event.
Dalen Swain was there, I believe, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to like him so much, but I just think he needs a year. And I think in this environment, like UC's not in a position to just like take redshirt guys, right? Like,
yeah, true.
I don't think they're there yet. I think they'll get there soon enough. But going into the Big 12, you need all hands on deck. And I don't know physically that he's ready to do it. And that's what happens to 16-year-olds. Right. He would be 17 going into the Big 12. It's a dangerous ask, right? Like the skill is there. He doesn't shoot threes. Like he doesn't even think about shooting threes. But he's 6'7", 6'8". He can legit handle the ball. You could use him as a point guard.
Yeah, I remember you saying he was playing point for his team for the most part.
Yeah, like they have Laurent Rice, who's another high 3-star. I don't know where he's at exactly right now, but he handles a lot of like the bringing the ball up the floor, and he can facilitate, he can pass, he's got great size and length. I'd like him to rebound better. I'd like him to be a little bit more active on the glass
at that height, yeah.
And I'd like to know he can score. Like he's not overly aggressive, looking to be a factor on offense, and I've just seen a lot of those guys, right? Yeah. Where when it comes down to it, in the nut crunching moments of a tough game, if a guy's not wired to score, he ain't gonna look to score in those situations, right? Like, that's one of the things with Rob Finney that like is intriguing about him.
Yes,
Rob doesn't. Rob, a big shot. Somebody's like, put your nuts on the table, and Rob Finney's like, where's the table?
Yeah.
Right? you don't want somebody to be like, what nuts? Who said I had nuts?
And then the rebounding side of things too. I need someone that's going to be willing to crash the boards hard for that last second shot.
If you're 6'8", you should rebound.
Yeah. Especially if you're playing the guard position, or at least wing position.
Yeah. Chelsea, I will explain this. I touched on it just a little bit ago. I think there's a couple different levels of this at AAU. Okay, a guy like Jizzle James that we just talked about, and yes, I don't think you were here yet at that point in time. His name is Jizzle. Well, it's not. His name is Edgerrin.
Edge Jr.
Yeah, Edgerrin James Jr. But he goes by Jizzle, and if you look up his 24/7 profile, it is Jizzle James is his 24/7 profile. A guy like Jizzle James doesn't have to shoot a three because they can't keep him out of the paint, and he can score at will from 15 feet and in. Now, in college, that's not going to be as easy because there's going to be help side defense. Teams are going to scheme against you to keep you out of the lane. You're going to have to develop the three. That's not to say it's okay that he doesn't shoot a three. It's to say I don't expect him at that level to shoot a bunch of threes because he'd be an idiot to do so.
Right.
Because they can't keep him out of the lane. Like, they're still trying to win games, right? Like, yeah, it's development, blah, 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 blah. But it's the EYBL. This is the highest level of basketball under college basketball is the EYBL. So, that's I don't have a problem with. Dalen Swain, he doesn't have that scoring ability to not shoot threes, to just ignore it. Like he doesn't have that kind of pop where you say, he doesn't shoot threes, but it doesn't change his team's chances of winning games. This is a 6'8" point forward that's not like battling in the lane.
Yeah.
Shoot some threes, bro. Like, and the thing with Dalen Swain is his shot looks pretty good, but he just doesn't have the confidence in it to shoot it. And if you don't have the confidence in it to shoot it, why would I believe that you can?
Yeah.
Like I had that talk with there was another prospect a couple weeks ago. I was at an event, and the prospect is similar, but he's kind of more like James, and he gets to the rim pretty at will and can score and facilitate. And it's like, look, I was talking to his coach. I said, just have him shoot 2 threes a game, like 1.5. Tell him, hunt a 3, 1.5, so that it's in the notebook of the people that are watching, because you never know who the people are watching or talking to. And if they go back to their contacts or their, if they run a scouting service and they go back to the schools that are in their scouting service and they're like, hey, he hit 2 threes in this game. Oh, I can't tell you have the ability to hit 2 threes if you take 0. Yeah. You take 0 threes. I don't have a fucking opinion on how you shoot threes.
It sounds like
5 games, yeah.
It sounds like he's a high school version of Ben Simmons, like
kind of. I think that's that's actually going around as like a kind of a good thing. Like Simmons didn't expose himself by shooting threes, right? As he was coming up as a prospect. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's exposed in the NBA because it's the highest level of basketball.
Yeah.
But where was he drafted? What number draft pick was he?
It's number 1, right?
Right? Yeah. So he did the right thing by not showing anybody that he couldn't fucking shoot threes.
And now he's making crazy money to not play basketball.
And you know what guys like me say? We watch and we go, well, he didn't shoot any threes, so we don't know if he can shoot a 3. So what do we have? Well, let's watch his free throw stroke. Well, Ben Simmons shoots a hell of a free throw. Like he's got a great free throw percentage, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I know
over the
from
past
watching
couple
him
seasons,
shoot
he
free
just
throws,
didn't shoot at all. So
right, I know from watching him shoot free throws, I had the thought of he shoots free throws pretty good. Like he should be able to, as he develops, transition that out to the 3.
His career, he's a 59.7, but
you just beat me.
Might be.
And Aaron, Brent, this is how we get to 2-hour shows, because I just go off on tangents for 10 minutes like I just did.
I mean, he was 62% his third season in the league.
Okay, it's much worse than I thought. So, back in the AAU days, you watched his free throw form and thought, I can see it, and it just never translated. But he did what a lot of these guys are starting to do is, if they're not knockdown 3-point shooters, they're just not shooting them, and then you don't have an evaluation. And it probably ends up good for them in terms of where they land.
Right.
But I don't know.
Chad, 67% in college, shot 9 a game. Not terrible.
I mean, there was at least like this belief that his free throw form is okay. He'll be able to extend his range as he gets into the professional ranks. It did not happen.
Well, one guy who I think is starting to really check out all the boxes is Isaiah Collier. This all feeds into Isaiah and the USA trials down there this past weekend. It looks like, first off, that he was blowing up and of course doing as great of a job as he's done over the past few months. But this says the Skill Factory 2023. This was posted on the board as well. I don't know, exactly. It looks like Lepore follows them and a few other people follow them. It said that he went home today due to needing to be evaluated for an injury. So
I have not gotten word on that yet. Like I said, I unfortunately from the time I got in the car yesterday until right now. I haven't had a lot of time to work the phones.
Right.
But
that might be the reason.
But I don't think it was.
Yeah.
As I talked about on the nightcap, I think the thing with him, and I talked to a couple people that have yesterday, and this was after it came out that there's an injury and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be the thing, but I think more from USA Basketball, which I understand, is a very everybody is involved environment, right? Especially right now with like where the coaching is at. They're trying to spread the ball, move the ball, space the floor. Collier is very ball dominant, very pick and roll, very downhill. And if it doesn't work, he backs it up, does it again, right? And then if it doesn't work, he backs it up and does it again. But one of those 3 times that he does it, he's going to throw somebody a pass for either a wide open 3 or a dunk.
Right.
But they want more Golden State with where USA Basketball is right now.
Right.
They're not, and that's just style. There have been guys that have coached USA Basketball that, especially like the under 18 teams and the lower levels, that a ball dominant pick and roll guard would have been top of their list.
Yeah.
Right. It's just styles make rosters. And I just think where they are, and he was younger than a lot of these guys. A lot of the guards ended up being the 2022 guys that are going to be freshmen in college. So it's a good chance for a learning experience for Isaiah to figure out what he needs to continue to do, maybe incorporate a little bit more of that stuff into his game, and grow as a player, because he's insanely talented. And everybody I talked to that was either there or talked to people that were at USA Basketball on Friday said Collier was the best guard in the gym on Friday. So,
and that's what they've been saying all past 3+ months. So
he's the best guard in the gym.
That continues to stay true. So, and obviously you saw other mentions of recent that the Bearcats are right up there in the running. So, and there's been no change aside from what obviously Chad has been filling everyone in. Has been the same thing ever since. They are right there at the top, just fighting for it. So
I do love that. I do love that anytime I see Rayvon interviewed, he's pretty much out here trying to actively recruit.
Oh yeah,
yes,
Isaiah Collier. I think it's fantastic.
He knows the mission, right?
He knows the movement. That's what it was. So, but
Good one, Brent. Good one.
Thank you.
Good work, sir.
The recent bump in the rankings for Collier.
Everyone.
Also, yeah, for everyone, really.
For everyone UC's recruiting
is a further indication of how well he's been playing. But and then shout out to Cathedral High School, Indianapolis, Indiana. Xavier Booker with a meteoric rise up to number 4 in the country.
Woo!
Just insane.
91-4.
That's insane.
You don't see many of those, man.
No, my buddy sent me who played basketball at Cathedral and was like, "Are you kidding me with this?" And I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty insane," to put it lightly. But yeah, so since he's still fighting for that one as well, so
they're working. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of built-in Big Ten bias.
Yep.
That exists on a kid from Indiana that is now rated number 4 in the country. That's going to be interesting. I'll keep some of my thoughts to myself on that until a later date, but that's going to be interesting just because I don't know. I've talked about it. I don't think he's a Big Ten big man.
Right.
He's not a back to the basket, hand up, throw me the ball type guy. Run, jump, dunk, shoot threes. He's actually a guy that I think will shoot in the mid-30s, 3-point percentage when he's in college. Like, he's not a Big Ten big man. So we'll see if the people advising him and the people around him realize big SEC, Big 12, ACC, like his game is much more suited for those leagues than the Big Ten.
Yeah, because what, like a month ago, everyone was like, "That's a Michigan State lock" type thing. So, and then obviously,
God, I just think that's so terrible.
yeah, right.
And I love Izzo. Like, I love Izzo. I think he's phenomenal. That kid is not what Tom Izzo does with his big men.
He's not Xavier Tillman,
right?
But yeah, so I mean, obviously another one to keep track of, and I think if he's continuing rising, his game is still developing in the process with it as well. So just another name to keep an eye out on, and then of course we'll wrap up the basketball recruiting talk with Rayvon Griffith. You guys already mentioned this, and to Arizona Compass prep school for next season, and I think everything that you guys have said about it so far to this point is pretty spot on. Just leveling up in the competition, and his tweet says, "Not worried about what they say about me. I know what I do it for. Cincinnati, be right back." So
I think the response is actually like almost made me feel like, oh, the fan base is starting to grow up. Like, because before, why is he leaving? Like, it's right. So provincial in Cincinnati where people get mad about this type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he won a state title at Taft. Like,
right.
He became a top 50 player at Taft. Like, he did all these things. Why not let him go and have a chance to like continue to build his game with a bunch of elite 4- and 5-star players right around the same range as himself. Mm-hmm. And he gets coaching and he gets to play basketball all day and, just like focus on that a little bit more. You get a chance to kind of get away from the city, get your mind on it. So I do think it was a good idea for him. Mm-hmm. I think, as we talked about on the nightcap, like, it's a situation where he played with a couple high level guys in AAU, and all of a sudden it clicked in his brain that, man, playing with a bunch of high level guys makes basketball a little easier to play, right? As opposed to when you're the high level guy and the other 9 guys on the court are a step or 2 or 3 below you.
Yep. I agree.
We've all seen those high school games, right? We've all gone to the high school games where there's one high major top 50 kid and there's no one else on the rest of the court is up to that level. Like,
Chad, there was a game in LN back in the day when they had Greg Oden and Mike Conley. Those are 2 obviously phenomenal players, but Cathedral played against them in the sectionals, the playoffs, and like Cathedral had a solid squad. They had a dude that went to Dayton, Stephen Thomas, and then a couple other pretty good guys. But man, that the final score with no shot clock was something like 17-15. They played stall ball the entire game.
Right. It was UC Kentucky back in the 80s.
Yeah, they just didn't let them do anything. It was just we're gonna 4-corner you and then take only open shots. And
brilliant coaching strategy. Because if you have a chance at 17-15. You don't have a chance at 81-36.
Yeah, just letting them run. Yeah.
I don't think the kid wanted to end up in a situation like LeBron either, where you're out there going back for a state title and then you lose to like a Roger Bacon.
Well, LeBron's that's a different thing.
Sure. I mean, he was, elite. There's nobody close to him.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said for going out on top.
Who did LeBron lose to?
Roger Bacon.
They lost to Roger Bacon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the state finals.
Who was on Roger Bacon?
Nobody.
Wow.
And if you played on that Roger Bacon team and you're a member of Bearcat Journal, because that's the level of that team.
We want to talk.
You did your job and you beat LeBron, but
we want to talk to you.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a bunch of guys that ended up playing in like Sweet 16s and Final Fours.
No, there was a guy on the team that went to Wright State that I was friends with, and he didn't play basketball at Wright State.
Right, like he was just hanging out with Aaron.
He was in chorus.
There you go.
Me.
One of these days, we're gonna get Aaron to just belt out a full tune for us.
We just did 54 minutes on recruiting.
Get us doing?
I don't know.
Well, no, it's good. It's good. Well, I guess we can timestamp the basketball recruiting part there.
Chad, just imagine how much longer it would have been if I would have recapped your thoughts of the weekend.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness, that would have been
Literally.
epic. If not only we had my thoughts on the weekend, but your thoughts on my thoughts. From the
All I
weekend.
wanted Aaron to say was Jizzle James. And I set it up so perfectly. He literally said Jizzle James 5 times on the nightcaps. I should have been
Oh man,
savoring right there on
Can
the
I
tip
help
of my
you?
tongue. But anyway, quick,
no, not even close.
quick. Cheers
Yeah,
to
I
you,
said I
Aaron.
wasn't. Hold on a second. Kelly's in here. She's like, "Are you all done?" And I said, "No." She said, "I thought you weren't doing 2 hours." And I was like, "It's what we do. Like we say every week we're not doing 2 hours."
We'll be quick from here on.
Do you need me for something or? Okay, you guys talk for a second. I'll do the timestamp and then. Urban Artifact is the largest sour-only brewery in the U.S. They pack over 700,000 pounds of real fruit into their lineup of fruit tarts every year. Swing by Urban Artifact's Northside Tap Room, mention Bearcat Journal, get $2 off a flight of 4 tasters. You guys talk about how awesome your Urban Artifact beers are, and I'm going to talk to Kelly for a minute, and I'll be right back.
We'll sync you. So yeah, Aaron, how's yours? Which one do you have?
I have the Key Punch. It's the key lime fruit tart.
I've got pineapple passion fruit. There we go.
The seltzer.
The seltzer.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. I bought my 6-pack.
Ooh. There we go, baby. Lock it in. But Aaron, I guess this will be a good time to get your account on. I just want to talk real quick with the guys back on campus for this year's basketball team, upcoming year. I just want to get both of your guys like number one name that because we obviously get all these videos and kind of just hear what the little birdies are saying about how workouts are going in the offseason, how open gyms are going in the offseason. Who's one player that you're kind of most excited to kind of just hear how he's progressing during the offseason now that everyone's back on campus?
Probably Skillings.
Okay.
Just because, and obviously he's not here until mid-June.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's the ceiling is so high on this kid, right? Like, just I'm wildly intrigued to see, especially if we end up in a lineup that includes DeJulius, Nolly, Skillings, plug in whatever 4 and 5 at that point, because I mean you got some dudes that can score.
Oh yeah,
with the 3 of those guys on the court together,
no doubt.
So I don't know. I'm just anxious to see what he looks like in open gyms. Anxious to see what he looks like in that non-conference schedule, and then going in and just to have him fine-tuned going into the actual conference schedule. I think it should finally be more than interesting. I mean, I think you gotta feel like you have basically more than just a puncher's chance in all of your conference games.
Yeah, I mean, like
we haven't felt like that in years, right? Not since Jaron was here.
Right. How quickly he acclimates himself will be huge because, like you said, a scoring punch off the bench more than likely, and who knows if he plays well enough and all of a sudden starts carving out a role for in the starting lineup somehow or some way, and they've got the scorers out there really meshing with each other. And I mean, I am interested to hear how he develops and how he looks first on campus and how quickly with the the Monster Factory giving him everything that he needs. But I mean, this high level of a recruit coming in, no injury, no recent injury history, kind of like a Zach Harvey had when he was coming in onto campus. So kind of just one of those guys that's rolling in from a state championship and looking like he's still at the top level of his game and only getting ready to get better.
Well, as we've talked about, with the addition of Landers and Ollie, you have that trickle-down effect of just pressure off of the other guys. So the pressure off of David DeJulius, the pressure off of Skillings to really do anything. Like whatever you provide coming off the bench is really just gravy, right?
Yeah.
And if you can really be the guy that we think you might be, then great. But yeah, I mean, there's just no real pressure for him to go out and put a show on because they're not relying on him in that sort of way. So
right, yeah, and of course Nolly getting into the fold is that's the one piece that really makes Skillings just
absolutely
progress as quickly or as slowly or whatever you need to do to make sure you're comfortable and ready to go out there and shine when you can. Chad, I was asking just kind of now that everyone's on campus, we're not going to do a full roster breakdown and this, that, and the other because
we got plenty of time to get to that over the summer. We got plenty of time to get to that.
Just one name that you're excited to kind of just hear how he's progressing and how he looks, you know, when the little birdies see him in open gym and kind of how he's hitting the weight room and whatnot. And Aaron throughout Skillings is his pick. I've got mine in the back of the head, hoping you don't steal it. But who are you rocking with? Who's piquing your interest in someone you want to see how he's developed so far and how he's going to continue to develop leading up into next year?
I think the one unknown on this roster that changes the team if he develops is Vic.
There you go. That's fine. So
yeah, I mean, I just like we don't know at the 5, right? Like,
right.
At least with like Abdul and Koval last year, like you knew you were getting some rim presence. You probably weren't getting much offense. We got less offense, I think, than we even thought from them.
Yep.
But you knew defensively, like you knew you were going to be solid. You knew they were going to give you veteran leadership because of the number of games that they played. You knew those guys knew how to practice and like, you know, like really bring it. And we don't know that about the center position this year. So if Vic is ready to take that step and even be, let's say Vic is a 8-9 point a game, like 8.5 points and 4 rebounds over 20 minutes.
Right.
Boy, you feel a lot better about this team at the 5.
And in the future too. Because
like going forward, absolutely. So hopefully this is a summer where he can avoid the injury bug that has kind of really thrown a thorn in his development. And he can get through summer workouts and can get into the weight program when they get back and they work towards the start of practice. And if he can do those things, I think you're really looking at a guy like you watch the AAC. Who are the 5s in the AAC that have the type of skill that he has? I know there's a belief inside the program he can be a 34-35% 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Where you can use him pick and pop, pick and roll. He can pass. Like, I think there's really a lot riding on if this team is going to maximize their talent. There's a lot riding on how Vic plays in this coming season.
And it could have been how the chips kind of fell during, the offseason recruiting and transfer portal and whatnot. But it seems as if bringing in Kalu, who only has that 1 year of eligibility remaining, kind of has opens that door for a fact that the staff is a little bit bullish on Vic and his development and what they believe he can be in the pretty much immediate future. Honestly, if he's able to put things together, because you think back to that Illinois game, he had some plays that were you're like, okay, what on earth did we get from this Vic?
Yeah.
This Vic guy.
He looked like an alien out there, right?
Yeah, he was unreal. I was like, what was this guy? And then he goes out in the Arkansas game and has 5 turnovers in the first 10 minutes that he's on the court.
Right.
But then, of course, and then he hits that big 3 against Houston at the end of the first half, and you're like, wow, maybe this is kind of another turning point where Vic gets back on the hot streak and shows what we all hope he can show. But yeah, I think the way that people have been talking about him throughout the offseason, the way that some of the small videos we've seen so far, looks like he's putting in the work and then some. So for me, he's the definite pick as far as that goes, because and sure, I want to see maybe if Odie takes the next step in his game and whatnot, but it does seem like
there's a lot of guys you could answer this question with.
Oh yeah,
I think Vic is the one, and I think you would agree that if he turns the corner, he has the biggest impact on how good the team is.
There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt, because like you said, I think there's there's a bunch of minutes at the 5 just wide open, and I think Kalu was brought in to cover up some of those.
A good number of those,
Yeah.
sure. But he wasn't brought in to play 40 of them.
No, there's still a bunch left. And I think there's a world where Kalu and Vic can be on the court at the same time together. And
sure,
if that came to the point of that, then maybe you are seeing a bigger amount of possibility as that.
Even if Kalu is like a 5, like let's say like we get there and he's just a 5.
Yeah.
Vic played most of his minutes at the 4 last year. I think they want to play him at the 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Now the question there becomes though, there's a lot of minutes at the 4. There's a lot of bodies at the 4.
Yeah.
And not as many minutes at the 4 when it comes to like when you're comparing the 4 and the 5.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And
that's what the staff has to figure out. That's why they make the big bucks.
Yeah.
And we do shows on YouTube at 11, 12 at night on Labor Day or Memorial Day.
Just a bit of a maniac in here. But yeah, I mean, and then of course a dark horse for me is Jarrett Hensley, kind of as he saw that room get more crowded. What is he flipping in his mind saying, okay, well, I got to start doing these things in order to raise myself up a level to be able to compete for minutes, because man, like you said, there's that log jam at that, 3 and then 4 plus, those 2 positions. So I'm excited to see it's right here too. And even though it is Chris Vogt and our boy Mamadou Diarra in the Monster Factory videos, there will be a lot of other fresh new faces and some old faces as well coming up in those videos. So I for one am very excited for that. So
why is Nizier Brooks in this training in this Monster Factor video?
Did Nas get his 7th year?
Is he still playing next season?
Nas with his 7th year. I was pretty surprised when Mike mentioned Nas's name as like some of that like.
Oh, that Mike, like Nas was a worker, man. Nas was a dude that got significant, like the jump he took from where he was when he got to UC.
Right.
To where he was by the time he left was massive. And you only get that by putting in the work.
If you watch some of his dunks that he had this past season, it was just like, man, he got a lot of bounce in those legs. But
coming back for his 8th year of college basketball next year, Nizier Brooks.
Playing for
didn't he play with Sean Kilpatrick?
I think he did. I think he gave Sean a hug when he hit 2000. I think it was the first.
At worst, when he took his official visit, Sean Kilpatrick was
for sure
his host.
His host was Yancey. Yeah, Yancey was showing him the ins and outs of Cincinnati.
Right. This is Adriatico's. This is where you get the beef or the Bearcat. This is where you get the Bearcat, and you take it home and you eat it yourself.
Exactly.
By tomorrow at lunch.
But don't worry. Come my senior year, I will dominate the Big East tournament. Don't you worry about that. But yeah,
that's why Yancey every offseason was like, Yancey's down to 255, man. He's gonna be lean and mean. And then by the time you got to like January 12th, he was 280 pounds. It was because he was just taking Bearcats home from Adriatico's and not sharing with his teammates.
Yancey's hungry, man. Let the big fella eat, baby. Let the big fella
that's
eat.
The most delicious pizza on the planet. The Sicilian style from Adriatico's. Oh, I could eat it all day, every day.
His performance, his junior year in the crosstown shootout was, and then against Georgetown in the Big East tournament. But yeah, we are diverting again. Let's go ahead and do a timestamp, another timestamp here. And we will continue. Are you curious to explore what lies beyond standard craft beer? Take a trip to Urban Artifact. They don't make beer; they make fruit tarts. I want your cocktail. Fruit. Come see what the world of real fruit has to offer. Swing by Urban Artifact's Northside Tap Room. Mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off a flight of 4 tasters. Chelsea, did they get you taken care of? The Urban Artifact folks. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just yes or no. I wanted to make sure they like. I
would assume so. She was talking about the gadget earlier while you were.
I think there was some confusion on the discount at when she went, and then I pointed it out and they let me know that they were going to take care of her. I just wanted to make sure that happened. That's all.
There we go.
No. Come on, Urban. We got to get Chelsea taken care of.
We'll get it figured out.
It's not fine. It's not fine, Chelsea.
So we spent a long time talking about basketball recruiting in the beginning of the show. Something tells me
5 minutes.
Yeah, something tells me next week will be kind of the same, but on the football side of things. As this weekend obviously is the first of 2 back-to-back. What was this on about? Chess, thoughts on recruiting, but not here. Thoughts on chess.
That was our timestamp.
I like that. You just had to say Jizzle James. That's all you had to say. Put it up on a tee for you. That was it. I even said like any names that caught your interest. Jizzle James. But anyway.
That's all he was trying to get you to say. It's just if you would have went directly to that, it would have been fine. But you started with me, and then like I said, you drove through the yard to get to Aaron.
I wanted both you guys to answer. Like, this is a family show, man. This is a family show. And also I'm like I probably got like a total of like 0 hours of sleep this whole weekend. So like I'm just trying to get everyone involved. That's all.
You're trying to facilitate. You've just thrown a couple bad passes.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get them in the second half. They got me in the first, but
they got me in the first.
I mean the first half, but it's we'll be able to come back. Anyway,
we might be better off doing this show at 10 o'clock. This is way more fun than the 8 o'clock show.
I do think that we will probably have an hour next week about the football official visits firing up this weekend, and then obviously the following weekend, and that got even more intriguing with the mention of a big commitment date being set, and that involves a very high-end recruit, one who just recently decommitted from Indiana University, one of their highest commits in program history. But now he's got his eyes set on a commitment date for this Sunday, which interestingly coincides with the visits going on this weekend as well. Guys, just kind of the outside gauge that you've gotten, Chad. I know the official list hasn't been, posted or anything yet, but kind of what are your thoughts as far as, is it still priming up this weekend to be as big as you originally thought it would?
Yeah, but I think it wasn't just necessarily like this weekend.
Yeah,
like it's a collective. Yeah. The June official visit has become like the big thing in college football. It used to be December.
Yeah.
Right. So like everybody would wait throughout the season, and then all these guys would take their official visits in December,
right,
and then decide like right at the wire. Now most guys are deciding before their senior season of high school starts.
Yeah.
So they want to get this out of the way before they start camp, before they really get into their season, because they don't want to worry about it. They want to be done with it, right? So that has been kind of like the trend.
Yep.
Again, as there were some rule changes, and like it used to be you couldn't take official visits until like September, and then it was so hard to get them worked in because these kids are in the middle of a fucking high school football season. Like,
so it's the coaching staff for that matter.
Right. So like you can't get them in. And then if you can get them in, they're like flying out of their hometown on Saturday morning after a Friday night game, or you're trying to coordinate with bye weeks. And then the staff is busy as hell because they're trying to win a game, because if they don't win games, they get fired. And it doesn't matter who the hell they're recruiting. Like it was just a stupid system. Like it was dumb. And then that forced kids to wait all the way till December to take their official visit. So they finally opened up visits in the summer, which now these kids can go on visits throughout the month of June and then have all the information they need and make a decision before they start camp at the end of July or the beginning of August, or whenever, each state is different in their timelines or whatever. So it's a great thing. And between this coming weekend and next weekend, there's going to be a shit ton of talent on campus at UC. Yep. And it will be very interesting to see how a lot of it plays out. Kamari Burns, Amari Snowden, Anthony Brown, LZ, what's his first name? Malik LZ?
LZ, yeah.
The wide receiver. Yep. Like there's going to be, there's quite a few other defensive linemen, some offensive linemen that Mike Cummings is getting involved with. Mick is going to have all that information a little middle to late, like Wednesday, Thursday, to get you kind of set up for what the official visit weekend is going to look like, the first one. And then there's a camp on Thursday night that's kind of like under the lights camp at Nippert.
Not Midnight Madness. Though.
Not Midnight Madness. Ooh, that was
starring Luther Richardson.
It was a blast, and it resulted in Luther Richardson. It resulted in Ken Willis too. Ken Willis was at that camp. Yep. But boy, getting home at like 2:30 in the morning for me, I can't do that shit, man. Like I can't sleep when I get done with work. I struggle to wind down.
Right.
And we got home at like 2:30 that night. Aaron, you were there.
I was. It was. God, it was so much fun.
It was a blast, and you were wired when we got home.
Yeah.
Did you imagine if we'd have had the nightcap after that event?
Well, I mean, we could have done it. It wouldn't have been a big deal because I think we were on the phone talking about everything afterwards for like an hour.
That's what I'm saying. We'd have been on the phone, or we'd have been online and like 4:00 in the morning, and there'd have been like 4 people that were still awake. People are waking up for work. Like, why are Chad and Aaron live on YouTube? What the hell is happening?
Just talking about that Richardson Rocket, man. That's all.
But there's going to be some interesting stuff coming out of Thursday. So, and then that rolls into the official visit weekend. So, yeah, Chelsea, sure, come on. I'll give you a piggyback ride down to the field at Nippert.
I'd pay to see that.
Bring it on. Yeah. Me giving her a piggyback ride?
Down to the field? I'm assuming down the steps? Yeah.
And then me collapsing and killing Chelsea?
100% I'd pay to see that.
She's very fragile. She's died 3 times already.
Good God.
Sorry.
The down wouldn't be too hard. Just got to take it slow, but the way back up.
No, I didn't say anything about carrying her ass the way back up.
Those are some of the steeper steps I've had. And I've been to a lot of stadiums.
I don't fucking care how skinny she is these days. I'm not carrying her ass all the way back up. No. I can barely carry my fat ass all the way up.
Yeah.
That no one could stop me. Gravity can stop me as I'm trying to climb those fucking steps.
Nobody can stop me. I'm on my way up.
Right? You get to the top of the steps, you're like,
yeah.
Look, I'm sweating in my office podcasting tonight.
The worst is when kickoff's getting a little closer, and I stayed down there for a little bit longer than anticipated, and I'm like scurrying up to the press box before the game.
You get to the press box, you're like,
yeah, I'm like in the elevator, and I'm like sweating and talking to some random other guy, and
you had to have your mask on too, so you're like,
oh yeah.
So Kelly's got one of the string backpacks.
Yeah.
The UC ones that they gave away.
Right.
My dad had one. He gave it to Kelly. That's what she's putting her oxygen tank in now. So she's got a little backpack with her oxygen tank on. Like I need that when I come to practice. I'm like, hey, Kel, can I borrow that oxygen mask?
For a couple hours, you think?
So I can get up the fucking steps, Nippert Stadium after practice.
I'll bring it right back. Yeah, you can say, I'm working out with Brady Collins today. It's all good. And it's like, what did you do with Brady? Nothing. Just walked up the steps after practice. That was it.
I know you're able to walk. I was just volunteering to carry you down and stating I'm not volunteering to carry your ass back up. You can walk back up.
Well, Chad, that was an interesting divergence from Dan McCullough. He has put a commitment date up for June 4th. That is the Sunday. His composite's 9270. So if you look up Cincinnati's all-time highest commitments, it starts with Evan Prater, 9279, and there's no one else in the 92s. So pretty big commitment date coming up here this Sunday with Cincinnati getting a crystal ball from Steve Wiltfong last week. So
I would just say Steve Wiltfong's crystal balls are pretty powerful.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
We could have taken that a lot of different ways, but
yeah, I left it just
open for interpretation.
That guy's got some powerful crystal balls.
At this time yesterday, if it was yesterday, I would have said something, but nope, not tonight.
Steve Wiltfong lives in Indianapolis, so he is he's very in tune with things that are happening in Indianapolis. That's all I'll say.
So it's a big commitment date set. He is confirmed this weekend visitor, right? Or is he?
Yeah, I believe so. Okay. I'm not confirming anything until we get to Wednesday or Thursday when Mick puts out the list. Yeah. But we're headed in that direction.
Right. Okay. And Mick could be a good guy to have on for a little bit on next Monday's BBP. Floating that out there. But yeah, so big date set on that one. It's upcoming. Actually, June 4th. That's Saturday, right? Oh yeah, so that would be
correct.
This Saturday. I kept saying Sunday. Saturday. My dad's birthday, June 4th. Happy birthday! But yeah, so aside from that, a lot. Obviously, stay tuned to BCJ this whole week when that list and everything drops, especially Thursday night. Chad mentioned. So yeah. Aaron, this you were at the Midnight Madness. This is kind of the brewing of the excitement of these visits and everything. You're right there on the forefront for this all last season. So I mean, it's obviously a big time, especially for the kids, because they're really wanting to see what Cincinnati and what all these colleges have to offer as a whole.
Yeah, and I'm not ruling out making the trip early to Cincinnati this weekend as. I do have the diaper party on Sunday, but I'm maybe heading out there Friday to join Chad for practice. We'll see.
No, Thursday. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday night?
Yeah, Thursday night.
Might not be able to do that one then. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm glad we had this conversation because because you would have been at Nippert Stadium at Friday evening. Like,
of course, I would have talked to you about it beforehand. I'm not
I'm here.
Where is everybody?
Just hanging out with the kids that are in for their official visit. No big deal.
Brady's not answering my calls. No. And also, happy belated birthday to Brady Collins.
The unofficial fourth.
Yeah, there you go.
The unofficial fourth.
There we go.
And maybe an unofficial fifth with Royer. Now we might have there might be a new member of the team.
Yeah.
That podcast was so good. Like,
we'll let them fight it out.
It was so good.
Yeah, he was a good time. I could tell once you peel back that initial layer, and he's just like, okay, I can curse, I can
I can be me. Like, I don't have to say effing. He said effing like 20 times in the first half of that podcast, and then I was like, Royer, you can cuss. It's okay, buddy.
And then he unveiled it, and he was like,
I'm surprised he didn't take off his shirt and put the war paint on. I can cuss. Let's fucking go.
Well, yeah, before we went on air, we were like, yeah, I mean, like, you can do the second half of the pod with your shirt off, man. That's fine. We have nothing against that.
I still wasn't sure he was wearing a shirt since it was
the exact same color as his.
Yeah.
The exact same color.
Exactly. Golly. But yeah, so
I love this fucking podcast. I really do.
Obviously, it'll be a bunch of football recruiting on next week's pod. I guess a couple other loose ends to tie up. I did see you saw Noah Potter's name mentioned in his picture in a couple of the tweets posted by Brady and the football. So he's in the mix. He's with the team that transferred.
Everybody, to my understanding, all the football guys are here. All the transfers, all the high school kids, minus one that is waiting on. He has to take like that stupid, the standardized state testing.
Yeah.
That schools require. He has to finish that, and once he finishes that, he should be good to go. I don't put names out on all that shit because that's not fair to the kids. But I believe 95% of the 2022 haul between high school kids and transfers are ready to go.
And then another thing of note recently, and this is just a quick side note, was it's good to see Nick Mardner's name getting mentioned as dudes of the week and on the top speeds list. It seems like a case where he was able to get comfortable and kind of we've heard the coaching staff mention it a lot, where you stop thinking and you just go out and you perform and
you start doing right.
And it sounds like he's starting to really pick that part up as well. So and he has all the makings of being a huge piece of the offense. So
quite literally.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Very tall statement there, wasn't it? But anyway, let's go ahead and put another timestamp on this sucker, and we will go ahead and move on to the BBP mailbag. How about that?
Did you know that Urban Artifacts building, the historic St. Patrick's Church, is 150 years old? They operate their tap room in the basement, and upstairs they offer the reliquary.
That's good.
An event space. Swing by Urban Artifacts Northside Tap Room and mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off the flight of 14.
Boom. Mailbag us up. AC.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm typing out the timestamp.
Is the C Christopher?
It is.
Aaron Christopher Smith. So if I'm mad at you, like that's the good. Aaron Christopher Smith.
I only got the first two. It'd be Aaron Christopher.
Yeah, for me. Brent David.
All right. So I did include kind of a potpourri of last week's mailbag and this week's mailbag. So
sorry we couldn't get to your mailbag last week, everybody, but Ryan Royer was more important than you.
2.5 hours of show, that was plenty. It also wouldn't have made sense with the flow of the show to do a mailbag there.
At the end of Royer, we were exhausted. We were done. He wore like we were all like we had just played a 2.5 hour college football.
Our faces hurt from laughing.
Much like tonight.
Right. So first question comes from the football portion of the mailbag. Do you know if the new ribbon boards and Nippert will be up for this season or 23 when we move to the Big 12? I know it's part of the next level success campaign.
I do not. That sounds like something we should have John Cunningham on and ask him, or somebody on the athletic department staff through this summer. So we will get you an answer. I don't have that answer right now, but if you're familiar with what we do here, we will get you the answer because that's what we do.
Matthew, as far as thoughts on the running back room, we did a whole nightcap dedicated to our thoughts on the running back room and potential depth chart along with Kiner.
What's your quick thought? Kiner, bulk of the load.
Yeah.
If it was me, it would be Kiner number 1, Miles Montgomery number 2, and we'll see where we go from there.
And then Chuck, if he's looking back to that speedster, quick change of pace back. Yeah.
Single game tickets go on sale tomorrow.
FYI.
In the mailbag.
Thank you, dude.
Just wondering the upcoming weekend dates for the hosting of the high school priority recruits. We did cover that here just moments ago in Brent's tall statement. And then thank you, and you all are amazing. Keep up the great work. We do appreciate that. J Bearcats with a capital R 91. That is the football portion of the mailbag. Moving over to basketball. Do Collier's official visits to USC UCLA this weekend count against his junior season or senior season official visit?
That was from last week.
That was from last week.
They count towards his junior. It's either August 1st or September 1st. For some reason, my brain wants to say September 1st, but I it's one of the two. So everybody's trying to get their junior visits in now so that they can take their senior visits later on.
Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think the staff's expectations are for Odie next season? I feel like we almost had that conversation while we were talking about things earlier this evening, but personally felt he was going to be a starter for us going into last season.
Yeah, I mean, Odie's got a lot of promise, man. Like he's got some offensive game as a back to the basket guy. He's got the little like that Kyle Washington style, like he's a righty, not a lefty. So he's got it's from a different side. He's got some scoring ability inside. I think as he continues to grow, well, he has a chance to be an important part of this team. Mm-hmm. You know, you talk about, you know, you expect Kalu to be a big part of this. You expect Vic to be a big part of this. I expect Odie to be a big part of this as well, in terms of like what answers this team has at the 4 and 5. So I think he's got a chance to maybe not be a breakout guy that's going to like jump into double digits or like whatever, but I think he can be a critical. You need guys like Odie to win games. Guys that are going to block shots, rebound, hustle, get on the floor, do the dirty work. Like you have to have those guys.
All right. What kind of opportunities might there be to see or hear about the 22-23 roster guys this summer? Smith League, open gym runs, etc.
Well, as far as I know, we're still not allowed in workouts, which I have fought the power as much as I could in those situations to get in and see open or to see like the summer workouts. It is still apparently the NCAA does not allow it, which but yeah, if there's open gym runs that, you know, I can disperse my little birdies to catch, we'll do that. It's going to be very similar to, you know, the Smith League. I'll believe one of those leagues is back to be in the level of, you know, the old school Devereaux leagues when I see it. I've been impressed with the rosters that have been released. I don't know that I'll have time to be there because of like the open eval periods for basketball where I'm going to be on the road. But I'm sure if there are guys at the Smith League, you guys are going to be able to go to the Smith League and provide us with content. That's one of the beautiful things about Bearcat Journal that we don't talk about enough, is that our members provide a lot of content.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're on the boards, if you're a member, if you're engaged in the BCJ community, those the people, there are people on the boards that are more diehard than anybody in UC land. Right. So if those guys are all going to be playing at the Smith League, I know you guys are going to be there and you're going to show up on the board and give us your evaluations. I will be there if I can, if my weekend is open. I used to always go to Devereaux when the UC guys were playing. If that's a consistent thing, I will be back at the Smith League doing that, but we'll see how it plays out.
I did miss 2 questions from the football mailbag.
You son of a bitch.
It's fine. I had them mixed up here in my my banners. We know there's a June 4th crystal ball and a July 4th crystal ball. Give us a number on what you think UC will get commitments between the two. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thanks, Arizona Bearcat.
I don't have that number yet. We'll have to see how the official visit weekends play out.
I mean,
there's a lot of guys that are really, really good, and UC is right up in that top tier of their recruitment. We are at the make or break point, right? Like these official visits these kids are going on are the make or break point. They are going to compare how much love did I feel here, how much love did I feel there, what are the pros and cons of each program. Like UC is now in big boy recruitment land.
Yeah.
A year ago, 2 years ago, these kids they were bringing on official visits. It was basically like, okay, we're bringing you in, you're going to commit, right? Like we were at the finish line. We're not, because there's so many high 3 and 4-star guys. Of course, there's a lot more people that want their services. Right. So you're going to have to spend a lot more time right here in this critical 2 to 3 week stretch to get the job done, to make your class the class that you want it to be. I could give those I could wink, nudge, nudge a year ago or 2 years ago on how this was going to play out. Right now, it's a lot tougher because there's a lot stiffer competition. But boy, it's going to be fun.
Chad,
it's going to be fun.
But Steve Wiltfong's got some pretty strong crystal balls.
His balls are like, they're smooth, they're shiny, they're strong. His crystal balls.
Indiana. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about in Indiana. You're right.
After recent news of Emmert stepping down and the NCAA wanting to get control of the crazy NIL era, what's the chance they can rein this back in and get control back?
0.0%. we go back over our content over the past, like we've talked about this a lot. Like the toothpaste is out of the tube, the cat is out of the bag. I don't know who kept their cat in the bag.
I've beat this horse. Like, they totally had every opportunity to get out in front of this, and they shit the bed. And they dug their heels in and said, no, we are going to – they're not going to rule against us. We're the NCAA. And they lost.
CC the Cincy. Brent remembers that. Brent was around for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was Mike Boone's best friend, CC Jefferson. He ended up having a great career. Is he still in the NFL? Does anybody know?
I imagine, yeah.
He was a dude. Like a 5-star. He was Mike Boone's best friend from high school. Like everybody thought,
While we are talking about the NIL, is there any update on the UC?
I promise this from the start. I promise. When I have an update on the NIL stuff, I will give it to you. Right now, I don't. I promise, though. I promise.
All right.
That's my pact to you, that when there's updates, I will give them to you.
In the wake of recent NIL insanity, I keep hearing about how the College Football Super League is more and more likely to become a reality in the next decade, with UC, again, being on the outside looking in, with bigger schools deciding to leave the NCAA to form their own governing body. That feels like it would be a crushing blow right for our program after we finally get an invite to a Power 5 conference. Is this a lot of nonsense noise, or should Bearcat fans actually be paying attention to these Super League discussions?
Pay attention, because I think it's at least there. I don't know why they would give up the place that they have built over decades to absorb the blame for what goes wrong.
Yeah, right? if something goes wrong now, it's on them.
Right. The NCAA did it. Why would you build a super league? But the answer is greed and money and all that stuff. I get it. But if you build a super league and you put all of that burden on yourself, you're going to have to develop another boogeyman to point the finger at when things go wrong.
You'd have a commissioner, much like everybody else does.
Yeah. Here's the thing I would say about this, Zach. If UC keeps winning, there won't be an option to leave them out of a super league, right? Because they're now going to be one of the teams that has established themselves as what does Luke Fickell talk about? We don't want to be a top 10 team. We want to be a top 10 program. And if this continues to develop on the trajectory that it's developing, a super league wouldn't be able to keep Cincinnati out, right? Like it just wouldn't, because they would be one of the teams at the top of the sport consistently over a period of time where these decisions are being made, right? That's the key in all this, right? Why was Cincinnati at the top of the list for the Big 12 when the Big 12 expanded? Because Cincinnati had been the top team on the outside looking in, and now they've taken that to a insane level. We're not a top 40 program, or if you really think about it, the P5 is the top 65. Where does Cincinnati sit on a top 65 list right now? Right?
Yeah. I don't know. What ends up happening would be fascinating with that.
Agreed.
Super League. I think it's a ways away, though.
Shit. Hold on.
I just pulled mine up on Twitch.
Yeah, Matthew. Duh.
Thanks for
Let's
the
go, baby.
thanks
Pump
for
it
the
up.
thanks for the heads up, Lambig, on the Twitch numbers. I had no idea. I had no idea that we needed to have an average of 3 viewers to become an affiliate.
Lambig.
Okay. So,
Brent.
guys.
I'm Brent. Brett is a lawyer.
Boom.
I'm the one who needs the lawyer.
I don't know what that says for you.
I was joking. It was a joke. It was probably an ill-advised joke late in the day. Very late in the day.
Hold on. Talk. Don't hold on.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I think there's a new Pump It Up.
Oh, jeez.
That's developing inside the locker room.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Right now.
Lots of rumors about Vic leveling up this summer.
Built this city.
Lots of rumors about Vic leveling up this summer. What have you heard? What would each of you see as a successful season for him at this point? I don't know that we really covered any of these questions when we did talk about Vic.
Yeah.
No, I did. I think I did.
Yeah.
Like, he
8-4.
makes this team significantly different if there is an impactful, maybe not all conference, like maybe that's putting too much on him. But if there's a guy that's one of the 3 or 4 best players on the team at the 5,
yeah. I don't know. I guess you did, with the 8.5. If you average 8.5 and what did we say, 8.5 and 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think with Vic, you had like the strong burst in the beginning, and then he tailed off.
This is where Chad has to mute this portion of the podcast because we get turned in for copyright.
This is the first time I've heard this.
Well, you also have your audio on your headphones, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airplane. I think I'm back in Scottsdale at the pool party.
I don't know what to do with any of that. Are there any words?
I can vibe it.
All right.
This is what they're working out to this summer. In the weight room. Can you imagine Brady with this beat one in the weight room while guys are lifting weights?
Screaming like a crazy person. All right. Chad, how impressed are you
I
with
like it. Send me that song.
It's called Karate.
Okay.
By Rehab and Cashmere.
Okay. Oh, Cashmere, right. Good to know he's still going.
Cat. That was Cat. Yeah, Cash is on the ones and two.
Rehab, like the band from back in the day.
Like R with a 3, R3 HAB.
Okay.
And KSHMR. Cashmere.
Interesting late nugget there.
Yeah.
But Chad, how impressed are you with the level of hoops prospects we're in on for 23?
Hold on. Go Cats. How could you not be excited? Every fucking kid that is presented as a recruit that the staff is recruiting is in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them. Like I get a list of like, keep an eye on this, keep an eye on that. Take a look here, take a look there. I look it up on my phone. 72, 63, 51, 87. If there's somebody in the 90s, I'm like, what's wrong with this kid? They are, yes, the Big 12 has opened the door because I tried to express it for almost a decade, how much the AAC limited what they were able to do on the recruiting trail. That is blown out of the water with the Big 12. You add the connections that this staff has to both North Carolina and Georgia, which are monstrous recruiting grounds, like two of the biggest recruiting grounds in the country. And then you have the ability to tell these kids, we're going to have a lot of playing time. We're going to have a lot of open roster spots. You're going to have a chance to come in and be a dude right away as we get into this league. And it changes the whole narrative. Like, but think about like a guy like a Cohen Carr, right? That name just kind of popped up out of the blue that Cincinnati's just now starting to get involved with. That's a top 70 kid. How could you not be like jumping out of your skin as a UC basketball fan with the thought of not only what the 2023 class is going to look like, but what this staff is going to be able to do as they build forward and they really establish a brand? They're much like Luke Fickell in 2018, 2019, 2020. They were selling a vision. The staff is selling a vision. Imagine how different it's going to look when they're selling success. And then we go back. We talked a long time about like, if you just can get one top 75 type guy per class and a second like top 100 guy to go with him, you got a chance to win big in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you get a top 10, top 15, top 20 guy every class, and then a top 50 guy, and then a top 75 guy behind him? And now all of a sudden you got 9 top 75 guys on your roster because that's really all you're recruiting are top 75 guys. You know who won quite a few championships with that philosophy? Villanova. Villanova wasn't crushing 5-star guys.
Right.
They were landing at just a shit ton of top 75 guys and building their roster with guys that can play.
I'd take Villanova's recent success.
So, Go Cats 2012, I'm impressed.
Very.
Where did things stand with Dalen Swain recruitment? We kind of glossed over that earlier. Royals getting so much attention lately that I believe Swain is now going overlooked.
I just think he's not college ready yet. I think he's still a year away. And I think that's a situation where, like in the old world of college basketball, you bring in a Dalen Swain, you sit him for a year, you let him develop, and then by year 2 or 3, he's ready to go and be a really good college player. But in college basketball right now, by the time you get to year 2 or 3, he transfers and he goes and he's a really good player for somebody else.
Have all the basketball newcomers made it on campus? We talked about that earlier.
Yes.
There's just Skillings that has yet to
graduate.
Right. Rapid fire,
Oof.
because we are now in the last portion of the mailbag.
Yeah.
Rapid fire. Favorite redhead, Leslie Mann or Amy Adams?
I'll say Amy Adams only because of the evisceration of Leslie Mann by oh god damn it, what's the movie? With Catherine Siegel and
what, Knocked Up?
Yeah, Knocked Up, where the bouncer.
Yeah.
I can't remember. God damn it, what's his name?
You doorman.
Right. Like the evisceration of Leslie Mann at that door. And he pulled her aside and he's like, look, you old as shit. He's like, I can't let you in this club. You old as shit. And she's pregnant.
It's the dude from the Pizza Hut commercials.
I know. I just can't remember his guy. Anthony Adams.
Craig Robinson.
Oh, Craig Robinson. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that like she got destroyed for me in that movie. So Amy Adams, Memorial Day or Labor Day, Memorial Day because it's the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
Well,
Labor Day's fun because it's the start of football season, right?
I I'm going back to the redhead question. I go Leslie Mann.
I'm going Leslie Mann too.
Okay, very good. So Memorial Day or Labor Day for you?
Memorial Day, 8,500.
Yeah, that's an Indy thing. I get it. Yeah.
Nuts. I go Memorial Day. Grilling season is officially on. Right. Pool season is on. Whereas Labor Day, you're packing all that shit up.
Right. Sadly.
Yeah.
Aaron, rapid fire. One word. Come on.
That's fine.
Me for that.
Brats or Mets?
Brats.
Mets.
What's the difference? Mets is like the kind of gray one.
No, Mets are the red. Brats are the white.
Okay.
I like Mets because there's a jalapeno cheese Met done by a couple of the like bluegrass meats and whatever. I love the jalapeno cheese Mets. Those are my jam.
They're pretty good.
Give me a brat. Give me a brat. Yep. I'll do a brat.
Like a beer brat, also excellent. Yeah, I love a beer brat. I don't have a problem with either. I'm a big fan of both.
Right.
Follow-up question. Which TV sitcom dad would best fit the BCJ team members, and why is Aaron Ned Stark? I don't know why it would be Ned Stark. Probably because I die in the first episode.
Of course, right?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm Al Bundy, right? I'm okay with it. It is what it is. I'm nicer to my wife than Al was to his, but my nickname for my daughter is Princess Dumbass. So
sounds about right.
Yeah, I have no idea for me.
Chelsea, nobody asked you.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of if there's. I think Brent would be Danny Tanner.
I'll take it.
I can see that.
Just the eternal optimist.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, and he's got to have Uncle Jesse and Uncle Joey like to balance him out. Us. So yeah, I think that fits Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
For you, I don't know. Like you can't be like the Brady Bunch because you didn't have 3 kids.
Well,
before you moved into
Phil
your 3
Dunphy.
kids. Yeah, Phil Dunphy. I think that could be fair.
Yeah.
I think that could be. That's outstanding, Brent. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
We'll leave it there.
Aaron is Phil Dunphy. I'll take Al Bundy.
And the last question from the mailbag. Actually, maybe not really a question, but 5 Bearcats received all AAC honors in baseball. Sadly, the season is over as they did get bounced from the AAC tournament after 3 games. Griffin Merritt was Player of the Year. Can we get a few shout-outs?
Yeah.
Well done.
Shout out to Griffin Merritt. All right. If you all do it, both of you do it, then that's a few shout outs, right?
Yeah. Well done.
So Merritt's a stud, though. He had what, like 2 home runs in that game, or
in the first game, the game they won,
the first one, So
he was the AAC Player of the Year. He was a monster. They got to get the pitching right next year. If they get the pitching right next year, then they're good to go.
He's off to the
I would assume so. He's got the option to come back,
right?
But I mean, you don't have that type of year and come back.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's not smart.
Second player in school history to win Player of the Year, joining Ian Happ.
Oh, Ian Happ, yeah.
Reds killer, Ian Happ.
Which, by the way, my buddy played at Miami of Ohio on the baseball team. Said Ian Happ hit a baseball in Cincy that he thinks hasn't landed yet. He said it. It
went over the one that went on the top of went on the top of Fifth Third Arena. I remember that. Yeah, for sure.
Jesus, that's the mailbag.
That's it. Wow.
All right.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Made it in under 2 hours.
There we go. Hey, it was a late one. It was a good one, guys. To be honest with you, it went by pretty fast. I don't know if it's because
we had fun. Like we were laughing. My cheeks hurt.
I don't know if
it was one of our more enjoyable episodes.
Yeah.
Aaron, we'll roll over the nightcap. We'll be back. Look, if we're gonna take a page from Galactic. They took off Sunday and Monday. So we're going to take off Sunday and Monday for the nightcap. We'll be back with a nightcap tomorrow. Maybe a PTP. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Dave and I are good to go on Wednesday for a BCJ pod as we head into Thursday night. You're welcome to come down if you want, Brent. That's up to you. If you can make it down, we'll probably be done by like 10. Okay. You could drive back to Indy, be in bed by midnight.
Yeah. I think my family's coming into town that day, so we'll see. We'll see.
All right, take us out of here. Let's go.
But yeah, just one more timestamp real quick as we love our friends over at Urban Artifact.
Cheers. UA's bar backsplash is made from repurposed wood flooring from the old gymnasium where the brew house now operates. Swing by Urban Artifacts Northside Tap Room, mention Bearcat Journal. Get $2 off a flight for tasters.
Bada bing, bada boom. Well, guys, thank you all for having your late Memorial Day Monday with us, and a special thank you, of course, to everyone who served and helped. You know, this is for you guys, of course. But special thanks to Urban Artifacts. Special thanks to Danco Transmissions. Jesus, Pete, I might need a little bit of sleep here soon. But aside from that, man, it was another fantastic PvP for my broadcast buddies, good friends, Aaron Smith and Chad Brendel. I am Brent Young. This was the BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.